making sure this works. Assalamu alaikum, mashallah. I was just thinking how Allah gives you such eventful days, whether you like it or not, to force me, I suppose, when I put it that way. I do enjoy doing these videos. I hope it is as useful to someone listening as it is for me leaving my little stories. But I had a character in the car yesterday where I had to practically stop working, where he asked me if I wouldn't mind just speaking with him for a while. So I had to stop. I had these jobs coming through, so I cancelled each one of them. It's funny, I don't know if any other Uber drivers do what I do. It's weird, you feel the responsibility over the top of what Uber demands of you. This guy had said that he'd tried to commit suicide. I'm guessing it was a while back rather than recently. But at the same time, I had a day where I went to the local mosque. I don't go very often. When I do, I do have overwhelming feelings that I'm not going to discuss here now. My wife had asked me if I would come along, and I ended up going home feeling a bit of trauma, to be honest. I won't kind of go into it, but I just feel it's important to give everybody time. That's where I kind of link it with that story of that man, and I switched my Uber account off so that I could listen. But what it is to listen to and be an ear for people. Excuse the music, I'm behind someone who is listening to some drum and bass by the sound of it. It was, I do take things to heart, and when someone tells me their life stories, where they open up and say that they lay up all night thinking thoughts like, why am I here, what's this all about? And I don't think by the sound of it his wife was aware of him thinking these thoughts. And he was somehow he'd asked me, I don't know, I didn't mention it, he asked me if I was religious, and I said, yeah, I'm Muslim. And so he couldn't understand for a while why I'd decided to do that, but we'd gone on to the conversation because he oh my god, there's a bus overtaking me in a red light. Jeez, what it is to be an Uber driver. Oh, he came up with the idea of speaking to me about it because he was saying that there's definitely more to life. He'd been, one of his first questions was, had I ever done drugs? Which I haven't really. But he said that it had opened his eyes to the idea of there being what he called the waiting room, which reminded me of something that Islamically we know as the barzakh. So I've mentioned to him the barzakh, that it's like a waiting room. That's an interesting way of putting it. Mind some of your feedback on what you think a waiting room is. And he'd seen his grandmother, I suppose, when he was doing some of these drugs. And anyway, we got onto the idea of he's old enough not to give a damn, That's not the word that he used, by the way. And I mentioned that I do find it difficult to listen to people, or in regard to, I always take the good from people, but I'm very sure of my faith now than I used to be, I suppose. Um, so yeah, there's lots to that story, and I kind of can't think of all of it at the moment. He looked like he was very emotional. He left the car looking like he was going to cry, and I said to him, one of the things I said to him was that you remind me of someone, I hope you don't mind, of one of the people that I talk about when people ask me, oh God, I've got the wrong way. Do you have any characters or stories about people who've had the car? And I always think of a man that I had who I dropped off at an off license and then took him home, and that was his idea of what his evening should be. And I automatically thought, is this what his parents had left him with? This idea of this is what life's about? And I said it because this guy had also, I dropped him off at a service station to pick up 5 cans, and I missed out on what he'd said when I dropped him off, and he said, I'll put these in the bin. And I thought about it afterwards. Did he just say that he's going to throw his cans away because of what I said? Because I said that it makes me upset that my own mum says to me sometimes, she says to me, you see when you get to my age. And I've always thought, why is my mum threatening me with that? I'd rather her say, this is how you need to protect yourself when you get to this age. But no, my mum says, you'll see when you get to my age. And it's a sad affair, you know. It doesn't matter what age you are, if your family haven't, in a way, got you ready for this life and what comes next, you will reach for the alcohol, I suppose, thinking that this is what normal people do. Anyway, I've got a job coming up. Nice to talk to you.